Hi guys, I'm going to walk you through how to do the different colored pencil techniques. We have 12 of them listed here that I'm going to show you. The supplies that you will need are obviously colored pencils, white paper, a Q-tip, and some baby oil or rubbing alcohol. You just need very little bits of that, whichever one you have. You can see I have my colors laid out over here. If you do not have all of these colors, that's fine. You can kind of work with whatever you have, but I will kind of experiment with all of those different things. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is divide out your paper. I have 12 small boxes here, and then I have kind of a medium-sized box in the bottom corner here that we'll do a practice on at the very end. Okay, so I'm going to start over here in this corner, and I'm going to start with my light pressure. So I'm going to go ahead and do a dark color so you can see it a little bit better on the camera. So I went ahead and grabbed my black, but you can use whatever. And I'm going to hold my pencil, you can see at the very end here, so that way I can get a good motion and very light pressure applied to the paper. Okay, so you're just going to come through and add a very light value. That's it. The next one we're going to do is medium pressure. So I'm going to move my hand up the pencil to about the middle, and then again just applying a little bit more pressure than before. I'm going to move that across my box. Okay, the next box here is going to be heavy pressure. So I'm going to, hold on. I'm going to hold my pencil a little bit closer. Sorry guys, my pencil broke. There we go. I'm going to hold it a little bit closer, more like with how I would write, and I'm just going to now press harder on my paper. And I can even do a even heavier pressure than this, but for now this is how dark I'm going to go. So I have a light pressure, medium pressure, and a heavy pressure. So the next one that we're going to do is called scrumbling. So if you remember from our oil pastel video, it's like little circles on our paper. So I'm going to do two different sizes. So I'm going to kind of imagine this divided in half, and I'm going to grab two different colors, and I'm just going to start with that scrumbling pattern in that circular motion. So you can see it's very loose, kind of up here at the top, so you can see lots of white between the little scrumbles. And then I'm going to come through with my red and do the same thing going the other direction. And kind of see how those colors mix in the middle. So down here I'm going to do tighter scrumbles. So again, still that circular motion, but a lot smaller. This works really well to get both of these to get a different texture. So if you're doing something soft or fluffy or like fur, it gives you a different kind of texture than just a normal stroke. And then I'm going to come across with my orange going the other way. So the next one we're going to move on to this box here is going to be cross hatching. So I'm going to again choose two different colors. You can do this with one color, but I'm going to do two so you can kind of see it a little bit better. And what we're doing is doing lines going across the page. They're little lines, not lines, big lines, but we're doing lines across the page. And then this one, this color, I'm going to go the opposite direction. So it's like they're crossing, which is why it's called cross hatching, onto the page. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my blue, and I'm adding just little lines. You want them to overlap and be somewhat close together. But again, it all depends on what kind of texture and look you're going for. This works really great if you're trying to do like blue jeans or kind of that denim-y texture, burlap, or sometimes even kind of like a basket weave pattern. Okay, now I'm going to do the green, and like I said, I'm going to do it going the other direction. Just so it gives a little bit different look to it. But I could just cross with the blue as well. You don't have to do two colors. Or I could do the green that color and then crisscross the other ones the other direction too. There you go. The next one we're going to do is directional lines. So I'm going to, let's just keep that blue and green. I'm going to draw a circle lightly, and then directional lines is exactly what you think. I'm just coloring in a specific direction. So if I have a circle, I want to color in a curved direction. When you're doing things like lines on hair, wood, trees, things that have a specific, obviously, direction, you would want to do this. If I was doing hair coming down the side of this, it would look really funny if I did lines going horizontally. So you want to be very purposeful in the direction that you color. Okay, so there's my directional lines. The next one we're going to do is called burnishing. So I'm going to do kind of an apple shape here. And I grabbed my orange, red, and yellow. And burnishing is all about layering and continuing to build up the pressure of the colored pencil as you're coloring. So I'm going to start with my yellow and do kind of a medium pressure across the apple. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with my orange, and I'm going to start adding value kind of along the outsides of this. Again, thinking like we did up here with directional lines. So now I'm doing more of a curved line here to help my apple look like it curves. You know, some apples are more yellow, so in some spots, so I'm going to kind of leave this corner, or that part, a little bit more yellow. I'm going to come in with my red. Applying a little bit more pressure. come back in with my yellow, doing a little bit more pressure, kind of a heavy pressure now. It's all about layering. Now today I'm just using regular Crayola colored pencils, and they work fine for what we're trying to do. But if you're really enjoying using colored pencils and you want to try to kind of push yourself to get more realistic drawings, I would highly recommend seeing if you can get some better quality colored pencils like Prismacolor. They're better, obviously better made, better quality. It's a little bit more of a waxy lead than what Crayola uses. And it works really, they work a lot better for doing layering and burnishing like what we're doing here. And you just can do a lot more with them. So, okay, I'm going to leave it at that for today. And then I'm going to add, since we're doing a little apple, I'll add a little stem here. Okay. So the next one we're going to do is just blending colors, and we've kind of done that across here, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I'm going to do yellow and green just so they're very different versus like red and orange where they're a little bit closer together. I'm going to do across the top with my yellow with kind of a medium to heavy pressure, especially since it's yellow. It's a light color. And as I come down, I'm going to lighten that pressure a little bit. As you notice when I'm coloring, I'm going, I go one direction and then I kind of turn it to try to smooth out that color. So there's my yellow, and then I'm going to come in towards the bottom with my green. Again, heavier pressure at the bottom, and then lightening the pressure that I'm applying as I come up. Okay, and as you can see where those colors overlap, you get more of a, like right here, that yellow-green color. Okay, up here we're going to use the baby oil or rubbing alcohol if you have it. I'm going to use 3 different colors here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my red, yellow, and blue, and I'm going to divide these into sections, just 3 sections there. You could just do 2 colors. It's kind of up to you, whatever you want to do. You could do more than 2 colors, more than 3 colors. And I'm just applying a medium pressure. My yellow, I do press a little bit harder with the yellow so it shows up more. But these 2, I will do more of a medium pressure. Now I'm going to grab my baby oil. It's a big container, but there's very, very little in here. And you can see my Q-tip's already dirty. But I'm going to dip that into the baby oil, and I don't want it dripping, so I want to wipe off the extra onto the side of my container. And now I'm just going to come in and smooth this out. So you can see the white starting to disappear from the colored pencil, like in between the colored pencil. And I'm going to move into the yellow, and you can see the red kind of overlaps that yellow to make kind of an orangey color. It doesn't mix a lot, but you do get a little bit of overlap. And there you go. So it's a very soft, kind of fuzzy texture that you get there. So it's just something different to try. Okay. The last 3 boxes here, we're going to do actual kind of imitated textures. So this first one I'm going to do grass. So I'm going to grab my yellow-green, my yellow, and brown. So if you have all those, that's great. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the bottom here. So imagining this is where the dirt would be. And I'm just going to go upwards. So I press hard and lift up. okay? And I just want to get different strokes. They're not straight lines. They kind of twist and, not twist, but they're going different directions as if the wind was blowing the grass. No blade is the exact same. Okay, now I'm going to come through with my yellow-green, doing the exact same thing, starting at the base where the grass would be growing and adding in more strokes. The more color and value you can add to something, the more realistic it will look. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of brown just to the base. So I'm doing the same kind of stroke, just smaller. Now, if you wanted your grass to be a little bit more brown, you could add more to that. Since it's becoming fall, grass is kind of turning, but there you go. The next one we're going to do is over here. We're going to do stone. So I'm going to grab my gray, black, tan, and my brown again. And I'm going to start with that gray color. And I'm just going to come in and draw these kind of organic shapes to imitate stone. So imagine like a stone wall and what that would look like. So they're different sizes and shapes. Then what I'm going to do is start just each stone. I'm not going to color the whole thing. I'm going to do each stone individually. So, you know, I'm going to look at this stone and do kind of the edges of it, maybe a little bit darker as it comes to the middle, maybe lighten that pressure, and just kind of keep moving across, doing all the stones. Now stones do come in all sorts of different, obviously, shapes like we already talked about, but also colors. So I'm doing a lot of gray here, but I will come in with my other colors and kind of layer on top of them. If you wanted more of a sandstone kind of color, you don't have to do the gray here. You could come in with a tan. It's totally up to you how you want your stones to look. So I'm going to come in with, we'll do a little bit of brown. And I'm not going to go crazy with these colors, but maybe just in a couple spots, adding a little bit of brown. And then some tan. And I'm not doing all the stones. I skip around. And if you want to, I don't use black a lot, it's just very harsh, but if you wanted to add just a little bit more shadow to some of them, you could do that, but it's just a very, obviously, dark color, so it can become harsh on your project. Okay. Then I want to do the inside here, so you can make that decision how you want to do it. I'm just going to come lightly, so light pressure. I'm just going to go over the whole thing. You could do each little line, that's fine, but I'm going to just kind of do a general color over there. And again, if I wanted, you know, a little bit more tan in here, maybe I just kind of spot color it. Okay. The last one we're going to do is our wood texture. So I'm going to keep my brown and my tan here. I'm going to come in with the dark brown, and I'm just going to add kind of these lines. So if you can see the grain of our table here, that's what I'm trying to imitate. So I have some curves, and I'm pressing hard to get a dark line. The lines are not perfectly straight. They're curved, wavy, they're touching one another. You can do this however you want. Everybody's wood is going to look a little bit different. It's very organic, obviously. It's from nature, so no tree, no wood piece is always the same. Okay, and I could keep adding layers to that. But now I'm going to come in with my tan. If you don't have tan, you can just, again, see how I have all these different values here with my black. You can just do a light pressure across with that same brown that you had. But I do have tan, so I'm going to go ahead and add some color. And again, I'm not going to color this whole thing. I'm just maybe going to do kind of some patches of tan. Maybe I want to come in with some darker brown. Or it's the same brown, but just pressing a little bit harder. And I might need to darken some of these lines up if I want them to stand out a little bit more. Okay. You can also add an actual, color. So if you look at the table here, it's a little bit more orange, like orangey color. So I'm gonna maybe add a little bit of orange to this. If you want a darker wood, instead of doing black, you could always add maybe a little bit of blue or some of the violet. It's up to you. So those are our 12 different techniques. What you're going to do here is I want you to test out a couple of those things. Again, you can test them out however you want. You could do your name and try some of the different techniques within the letters of your name. You could draw a picture. It's totally up to you. When you are finished with this, make sure to take a photo of it and submit it to the task on Echo. Let me know if you guys have questions. I hope you enjoyed learning some different techniques with colored pencil. And I can't wait to see what you made. Bye, guys.